Hello everyone, welcome to Night Tales. I am Saiful, and I hope you all are doing well. Today we are going to talk about the greatest mystery in the history of aviation. A mystery that has kept the world's top scientists, investigators, and governments awake for years. We are talking about Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. This is a story about a massive Boeing 777 aircraft, 239 innocent lives, and a disappearance so perfect that it almost feels impossible in our modern world of satellites and constant surveillance. The date was March 8, 2014. It was 12:42 a.m. in the middle of a quiet night at Kuala Lumpur International Airport. Flight MH370 was ready on the runway. The destination was Beijing, China. On board, there were 227 passengers from 14 different countries and 12 crew members. The weather was clear, and the conditions were perfect for flying. In the cockpit sat two men. One was Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah. He was 53 years old and was one of the most senior and respected pilots at Malaysia Airlines. He had flown for over 18,000 hours. He was a man who lived and breathed aviation. Next to him was First Officer Fariq Abdul Hamid. He was 27 years old, young and ambitious, and this was his final training flight before becoming fully certified. Everything seemed perfectly normal as the plane took off and climbed to its cruising altitude of 35,000 feet. At 1:08 a.m., the plane crossed the Malaysian coastline and flew over the South China Sea. The pilots reported their position, saying everything was running smoothly. 11 minutes later, the plane reached the edge of Malaysian airspace and was about to enter Vietnamese airspace. This is a standard procedure where one air traffic control hands over the plane to the next. At 1:19 a.m., Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control radioed the plane. Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah replied in a calm, steady voice. Good night, Malaysian 370. Those were the last words ever heard from the plane. Just 90 seconds after that message, as the plane was supposed to check in with Vietnam, something incredible happened. The plane's transponder, the device that communicates with radar, was manually switched off. In an instant, MH370 vanished from civilian radar screens. It didn't crash, it didn't explode, it simply became invisible. For the next few hours, there was total confusion. Ho Chi Minh Air Traffic Control expected the plane to check in, but it never did. They waited for 18 minutes before even contacting Kuala Lumpur. It took 5 long hours for the authorities to officially declare an emergency search and rescue mission. By the time the world woke up and realized the plane was missing, it should have already landed in Beijing. But the runway in Beijing was empty. The initial search started in the South China Sea, where the plane was last seen. Ships and planes from dozens of countries joined the hunt. But then, a shocking discovery changed everything. Military radar data revealed that MH370 had not disappeared because it crashed. Instead, right after the transponder was turned off, the plane made a sharp 180-degree turn. It flew back across the Malaysian peninsula, right between the borders of Thailand and Malaysia, to avoid detection. It then turned again, heading northwest toward the Malacca Strait, and then turned a final time toward the vast, empty southern Indian Ocean. How do we know where it went if the radar was off? The answer lies in a satellite owned by a company called Inmarsat. Even though the main communication systems were off, a small terminal on the plane continued to send out an automatic ping to the satellite once every hour. These pings, known as satellite handshakes, proved that the plane flew for 7 more hours after it went silent. Scientists analyzed these pings using complex mathematics. They looked at the frequency of the signals, something called the Doppler effect, to estimate the plane's speed and direction. They drew a series of arcs on the map, representing where the plane could have been during each handshake. The final handshake happened at a place called the 7th Arc, a remote area thousands of kilometers off the coast of Western Australia. This area is one of the most difficult places on Earth to search. The water is 5 kilometers deep, the terrain is mountainous with underwater volcanoes, and the weather is brutal. The search for MH370 became the most expensive and extensive in history. Over $160 million were spent. They scanned 120,000 square kilometers of the ocean floor. Despite all the technology, they found nothing. No engines, no black boxes, no bodies. It was as if the plane had never existed. However, in 2015, a small piece of the plane's wing, called a flaperon, washed up on Reunion Island near Africa. In the following years, more than 27 pieces of debris were found along the coasts of Africa and Madagascar. This confirmed one thing: the plane had crashed somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean. But why? And how? This brings us to the theories. The first and most controversial theory is the rogue pilot theory. Many investigators believe that Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah deliberately took the plane. When the FBI searched his home, they found a professional flight simulator. On that simulator, he had practiced a path into the southern Indian Ocean just weeks before the disappearance, a path that was almost identical to the one MH370 actually took. Some believe he suffered a mental breakdown or was making a political statement, but his friends and family strongly deny this, saying he was a happy man who loved his job. The second theory is hypoxia, or the ghost flight theory. This theory suggests that a sudden mechanical failure or fire caused the plane to lose cabin pressure. Within seconds, everyone on board, including the pilots, would have lost consciousness due to lack of oxygen. The plane, set on autopilot, would have continued to fly straight until it ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean. This would explain why there was no distress signal. The pilots were simply unconscious. Then there are the more extreme theories. Some suggested the plane was hijacked by terrorists, but no group ever claimed credit. Others claimed it was shot down by a military or even taken by a foreign government to a secret base. But none of these theories have any solid evidence. Recently, in 2022 and 2023, a new hope has emerged. A retired aerospace engineer named Richard Godfrey has been using a new technology called WHISPR, Weak Signal Propagation Reporter. This technology tracks how radio waves are disturbed by objects moving through the air. By analyzing global radio data from that night, he believes he has pinpointed the exact crash site. He says the plane is sitting 4,000 feet deep in a very rugged area of the ocean floor, just outside the original search zone. If Richard Godfrey is right, a new search could finally find the wreckage. We could finally recover the black boxes and hear the final moments in the cockpit. We could finally give answers to the 239 families who have lived in pain and mystery for over a decade. MH370 remains a haunting reminder of how much we still don't know about our own world. A massive machine can disappear, and the ocean can swallow a secret for years. But the search for the truth never stops. I am Saiful, and you were watching Night Tales. If you found this deep dive into the MH370 mystery informative, please hit the like button and share this video with others. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such mysteries. What do you think happened to the flight? Let me know in the comments below. Take care of yourselves. Thank you very much.